Hey everybody, I'm ZombieJohnny and it's good to be back. Today we're taking a look at a graphic novel that I've owned for quite some time and it took me a while to get warmed up to. This is V for Vendetta. V for Vandetta is written by Alan Moore, illustrated by David Lloyd, and published by Vertigo. V for Vandetta's original run was from 1982 to 1989. The story opens with a young girl and a man dressed in black preparing themselves to go out into the night. A broadcast named The Voice of Fate fills the air as they finish getting ready and set out. The young girl approaches a man and asks him awkwardly if he would like to sleep with her. The man she tries to solicit is a fingerman, or a member of the secret police. The fingerman and a group of other officers are about to do the unthinkable to the young girl when the man dressed in black, toting a Guy Fawkes mask, approaches reciting lines from Shakespeare's Macbeth. The man in black quickly vanquishes all but two of the fingermen and scoops the young girl up and glides off into the night without leaving a trace. The masked man and the young girl are sitting atop a building looking out at the cityscape. The man recites a poem about the 5th of November, and then the House of Parliament explodes into a beautiful display of fireworks. Next, a dark and ominous council is having a meeting about the events of the previous evening. A detective named Mr. Almond enters the meeting and is given all hell by the government leaders. Mr. Almond is given the task of finding this masked man or his head is on the line. In the story, we jump back to the masked man and the young girl. The masked man has taken the girl back to his home named the Shadow Gallery. The Shadow Gallery is an underground lair filled with things from the past, like music, books, and other trinkets considered contraband in this dystopian existence. We then jump to a pair of fingermen and the voice of fate himself, Mr. Prothero, boarding a train car. One of the fingermen sees a quick flash of the man in black while the train is in motion. Suddenly, the lights go out and Mr. Prothero is sitting in the darkness, continuing his conversation. He then notices that the two fingermen are dead and the masked man appears out of nowhere. The story then cuts to the detectives investigating the train car with the two dead fingermen inside. One of the detectives finds a violet Carson rose in the train car, a rose that is thought to be extinct. He then says that the man that they are pursuing seems to have a fascination with the letter V. The story then moves back to the Shadow Gallery, where the young girl is crying. The masked man approaches her, and they introduce themselves to one another. The young girl's name is Evie Hammond, and the masked man is simply known as V, and this is where the adventure begins. The world of V for Vendetta is under a fascist rule, and an all-seeing eye watching over the land, much like something out of George Orwell's 1984. V for Vendetta is very much a period piece, filled with themes that are touchy subjects back in the 80s. I'm not going to get into them because quite a few of them are very political and quite a few of them aren't politically correct. David Lloyd's illustrations, line work, and coloring are absolutely amazing. The whole story has a dark mood and is complemented by Lloyd's artwork magnificently. The use of heavy blacks mixed with the amazing choice in color to set the scene is beyond compare. When I first read it years ago, it wasn't really what I was expecting. It wasn't very action-packed and fairly dialogue-heavy, and I didn't really enjoy it that much. But over the years, I've grown to really enjoy the story. Moore's writing is very poetic and very well thought out. I feel there are no words out of place. The story moves at a very good pace and never feels like it's dragging at all. From the dramatic moments to the action to the investigation, it always keeps you hooked and wanting more. Let's just take a small sidebar and talk about Alan Moore for a moment. Alan Moore has a very extensive bibliography and has won many awards. There is no doubt that Alan Moore's work will pop up in any best comic books of all time list. Some of his works would include The Watchmen, V for Vendetta, Batman, The Killing Joke, and The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Moore has received multiple Eisner Awards across many categories. If you don't know what the Eisner Awards are, they're like the comic book world's version of the Academy Awards. So really, it's the highest recognition any comic book artist or writer could receive. And Alan Moore has plenty of them, and it's obvious why. Something that is polar opposite from my last review, The Dark Knight Returns, is that The Dark Knight has such an emphasis on sound effects. They are a major part of the story. The Dark Knight centers panels on the sound using negative space for added effect. V for Vandetta, on the other hand, has absolutely no sound effects at all. This is such an interesting artistic choice. I feel that it's the most unique part of this comic book. I feel the words have much more impact without the panels being cluttered by sound effects. It also maintains the tone of the story as well. Not having the goofy sound effect fonts in the story makes each panel like its own little tiny piece of art. I purchased this trade paperback when I first moved to the city in 2008. After watching the film, I knew that I needed to purchase this comic book as soon as I laid my eyes on it. And yes, much like every young, naive moviegoer, I had no idea that this was a comic book first. And let's switch topics and talk about the film. The film was written by the Wachowskis and directed by James McTeague. Well, the Wachowskis are best known for the Matrix trilogy, and McTeague is best known for, not much, but the V for Vendetta is his directorial debut, if that means anything. The film stars Hugo Weaving and Natalie Portman and was released in 2005. I watched the film in theaters when it first came out. The film has a very large focus on action. Most of the death scenes in the comic are very quick and usually consisting of only a couple panels where the film focuses on the action. V is a very skillful killer and they have no problem showing how talented he is in the film. Whereas in the comic, they let you know that he is skilled, but they never show the extent of his skills because he dispatches of any foe very quickly to make it feel like he is almost limitless in his killing expertise. The tone of the film is off. They tried to adapt it into a more modern feeling universe, but I feel they should have stuck closer to the source material. It would have felt better, but it would have been less accessible to the general populace. I can see why they did it. The film, in my eyes, is a good film, but it's modernized to the mid-2000s. But they have recently announced that they will be creating a V for Vendetta mini-series. And I am hopeful that this mini-series will stay closer to the written source material. V for Vandetta is available in the trade paperback edition, which is under $20, and also available in the library binding, which is the hardcover version. The library binding is over double the price of the trade paperback, but much like in the fashion of Dark Knight Returns, I'm very tempted to pick up the hardcover version. Overall, V for Vendetta is a beautifully written and illustrated series. I feel that this is one comic book that everyone should read, and it is also a must in any comic book collection. Total page count 286. Total volumes 1 trade paperback. Total score 5 out of 5. This is a must-own comic. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I know it's been a while since I've done a review. I've been quite busy as of late, and actually, unfortunately, I had done this review already, and then for some reason the file had crashed and I had lost everything, so I had to start from scratch, and there's no better way to lose motivation when you already have something completed and you have to start from scratch again. So, I mean, excuses aside, I'm happy to be back. It's great that I've finished this review finally, and I have a couple more reviews planned. Hopefully I'll get them out before the end of the year and not make it such a bust and only have like 1 or 2 reviews out this year. But like I said, once again, I can't state how many times I'm very happy to be back, and I hope you all enjoyed the review. As for the upcoming reviews, I think you guys you're going to enjoy them. You're going to enjoy them quite a bit. And I've enjoyed reading the, not going to say whether it's a comic book or manga. I've enjoyed reading them, whichever one they are. And I look forward to getting them done and seeing your guys' reaction to them. So once again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're staying happy, healthy, and safe. I'm ZombieJohnny. Peace.